Liverpool 3, Yokohama FM 1 was literally a game of two halves, with the first half not being the most interesting from a Liverpool perspective, but I think in the first half there are a lot of lessons that we can take, especially with the balance of our midfield. I think while as exciting as it is playing both Szoboszlai and Wirtz in the same game, in the same midfield, it doesn't necessarily give us a very good balance, especially coming back, because in the first phase of pressing, both of them are going into press, and that leaves Gravenberch exposed a lot, and that makes for the turnovers in play that lead to the counter-attacks that leave our defense quite exposed. Even though the first goal that we get from Yokohama wasn't necessarily a typical counter-attacking goal, but I think having a player next to Gravenberch who has a good understanding with him would help prevent those types of easy plays that leads to turnovers, that leads to our defenses being directly attacked. Now, I don't think necessarily this means that we should never play Szoboszlai and Wirtz in the same midfield, but I think as they get more understanding between each other, we might see a bit more of a balance between the two, and we might see a bit of help coming to Gravenberch when the ball is turned over. I think going forward as well, it didn't necessarily help them that both of them were trying to congest the same types of possessions and pick up the same types of spaces that were left by Gakpo and Ekitike. So I don't think our balance in midfield was necessarily very good in the first half of the game. I think we saw good glimpses, good movement from Ekitike, but I think it was very visible that this was his first time playing with Liverpool after just a few sessions of practice with them. But I think Mo Salah showed good ability to try and find Gakpo and Ekitike and sort of sacrifice a bit of his attacking to become a bit of that deep-lying playmaker with those Travella passes. I think 2 or 3 of them went into very good positions, but we couldn't really do much with them. I thought Gakpo gave us a typical Gakpo performance where he's trying to cut in a lot and shoot from those edges of the box, which I think we'll see a lot of in this season. I think in games where that becomes predictable, we might see what we saw today in another player coming to play in those positions. So I think we are good in that position, and I think Rio in the second half gave a very good account of himself. But before we speak about the second half, I think the change in dynamic in the midfield already came when Curtis Jones came into play alongside Gravenberch before the major substitutions were made. I thought that gave a bit more of a balance with Curtis Jones defending quite well, also coming in back to receive the ball from the goalkeeper and from the defenders, pushing on with play. And I think he took the game on the scruff of the neck, as they usually say, and was very pivotal for Liverpool's first goal. And that's the type of play that we needed, somebody who just wanted to get a feel of the game and try and do something exciting going forward, and we got that from Curtis Jones. But I think over that, Curtis Jones showed very good glimpses in his play. Like I said, he was very good at taking the ball from the centre back, from the goalkeeper, laying it off and running forward and trying to make something happen in those forward positions. So I think his ball carrying was very exciting. But in the second half, I think we saw a very good performance, a more well-rounded performance from Liverpool. And I think, in my opinion, it is well helped by the balance we had in midfield, with having McAllister playing alongside Trey Nyoni in that midfield, and having Curtis Jones as the 10, who has a very good understanding with McAllister and knows when to come back and plays very well in those spaces. And I think Curtis Jones and Trey Nyoni had a very good understanding, especially going forward. We didn't see them trying to go forward at the same time, and I think this is exemplified by the goal that we see from Trey Nyoni. I think it is a very good play from Jeremy Frimpong, who is blisteringly fast. I think the defenders from Yokohama FM had a really tough time dealing with him after having a first half tough time dealing with Mohamed Salah. So I think the goal that we see from Trey, even though it's a wonderful bit of play from Jeremy Frimpong, a very good cross, which we're going to come to expect that a lot with those cutbacks and those crosses from that right wing position. even though in this game he was playing as a right back, but we know that his desires to get forward and show a lot of his attacking quality. We see a very good understanding between Curtis Jones and Trey Nyoni, with Curtis Jones sacrificing a bit of his movement and staying at the edge of the box and allowing Trey Nyoni to go forward and follow the run of the ball, and he ends up getting a nice tap in acrobatically at that far post, which is a very brilliant piece of play. And I think Jeremy Frimpong is getting more of a hang of playing with these Liverpool players, and I think Alexis McAllister, for his first game back, was showing very good form. I think we already know that he's sort of that register type of player for Liverpool, keeping the ball ticking, playing those short passes, allowing interplay, opening spaces. But I saw in this game, as I've seen in a few games, but I'd like to see more of it in Premier League games, is that he's very difficult to dispossess, he's very difficult to press. He's very good with keeping the ball, protecting the ball, and making sure that Liverpool stay in possession. And that's the kind of player that you need in that midfield, alongside Gravenberch, who's had a very good season, but I think we still see a lot of development that's necessary from him. If we compare him to the Gravenberch that came from Ajax, we're still going to see a lot of ball carrying coming from Gravenberch, and I think playing alongside Alexis McAllister will help him. It will help Trey Nyoni. It will help whoever is playing in the number 10 position, because they will know that behind them there's somebody who's ready to have those interplay moments with them, who's not as eager to run forward with the ball, but will allow space for them to play in there. So I'd like to see Alexis McAllister playing alongside Florian Wirtz and see the type of football that we can play with these two ballers, while allowing Gravenberch to carry the ball forward when it is necessary. I think Trey Nyoni is going to be a player who I think Arne Slot is going to treat similarly to how Pep Guardiola treated Phil Foden when he was coming up, and to say that there's not too many teams that we can send him to loan, that we can loan him out to, that play the type of football that we want him to play at Liverpool. I think he is a baby Gravenberch, if we can call him that, in the term that he's playing a lot like Gravenberch, but he's showing a lot more explosiveness that Gravenberch isn't showing, and he's learning a lot of passing, and his range of passing is very good. So I think this is a player that's going to benefit from training with the Liverpool team, as we've seen from the previous season already. I don't think we're going to send him out on loan. I think Liverpool are going to keep him and allow him to train more with the first team and develop his play internally instead of sending out on loan. Speaking of young players, the goal that we see from Rio is an amazing goal, an amazing individual goal, so to say. And I think if anyone in this game deserved, or from this whole preseason tour deserved a goal, it's Rio, and the way that he's been playing. I think we see his explosiveness, and we see a bit of a new layer in every game. There's a bit of play where he should have scored or created an assist, where he faded to go to the byline, faded to come inside, and when they thought he was going to pass it, he Schmidt went back and had a bit of a shot. It was a bit of a tame shot that allowed the goalkeeper to save it, but it's good to see him getting his goal, and the celebrations from Mo Salah and some of the other senior players were quite brilliant, showing the kind of support that he has around him and the types of mentors that he has with him. I think Florian Wirtz gets a very good goal, but that goal is completely made by Curtis Jones, which is very good to see him taking the game by the scruff of the neck. I think Liverpool needed that sort of spark from Curtis Jones, and we got it, and it was Liverpool's game to win after that moment. I think it was brilliant as well to see Wataru Endo get a hero's welcome in his home country, and it's amazing to see the love that he has there. He's also the Japan national captain, so it's amazing to see him get the love and support from his home citizens. But overall, the love that Liverpool have been getting with filled out stadiums for preseason games, and a lot of people coming to watch trainings as well. I think overall it's been an amazing preseason tour by Liverpool. I think it was also amazing to see the fans give tributes to Diogo Jota at the 20th minute and throughout the game, and to see some of the fans throwing up shirts from our previous Japanese player in Takumi Minamino was an incredible thing to see, and it shows the Liverpool support that's out there around the world, everywhere. And now the Reds come back to England to continue some of the training there. I think in previous times we saw with Arne Slot, with Jurgen Klopp, that after he did the compulsory tour for the global reach and everything, he would usually go to Austria where the team trained there. But with Arne Slot, we see that most of the preparations are going to be completed at the training center at AXA, and the next game is going to be against a Spanish team, I'm forgetting, but it's going to be on Monday, so it's going to be interesting to see because we're going to play twice against them. Let me know what your thoughts are on this game, and subscribe to the channel. We're trying to reach 200 subscribers before the beginning of the season.